The Lakeview Motel sat just off the interstate, the kind of place travelers used only because they were too tired to keep driving. The rooms were cheap, the neon sign buzzed all night, and most guests were gone by sunrise. No one expected to stay long. The first victim was a traveling salesman. He checked in on a Thursday evening after driving nearly 10 hours. Security footage showed him collecting his room key, carrying one suitcase, and walking to room 18. He never checked out. The next morning, housekeeping found the room empty. The bed had been slept in. His suitcase was gone. His truck remained parked outside with the keys still inside. Police assumed he'd left with someone or wandered off. His family disagreed. He never traveled without calling home. 6 months later, another guest disappeared. A woman driving across the state to visit her daughter stopped for the night at the same motel. She called her daughter just before bed. "I'm exhausted," she laughed. "I'll see you in the morning." She never arrived. Her room looked almost untouched. The television was still on. Her overnight bag sat beside the bed. Her shoes were neatly placed by the door. She was simply gone. State police compared the two disappearances. The similarities were unsettling, but there wasn't enough evidence to declare them connected. Then a third guest vanished. A construction foreman. Again, he had rented a room for a single night. Again, his vehicle remained in the parking lot. Again, there was no sign of a struggle. Now detectives focused on the motel itself. They interviewed employees, searched every room, and reviewed months of surveillance footage. Nothing, until one detective noticed something almost invisible. Every victim had checked in during the overnight shift, between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., always with the same desk clerk. His name was Dennis Walker. He had worked nights at the motel for nearly 12 years. Quiet, polite, never missed a shift. Guests barely remembered him. He handed over room keys, wished them a pleasant stay, and disappeared behind the front desk. When detectives questioned Dennis, he seemed genuinely surprised. He remembered each guest, or at least, he claimed he did. "They all seemed tired," he said. "They just wanted some sleep." His answers were calm, consistent. He wasn't arrested. There wasn't enough evidence. Weeks later, investigators made a breakthrough. A woman staying at the motel called 911 just after 2 a.m. She whispered that someone had tried to open her room door. When officers arrived, no one was outside. But the woman insisted she'd looked through the peephole. She hadn't seen anyone. She'd only heard breathing. Police checked the hallway cameras. The footage showed something strange. At exactly 2:08 a.m., someone stopped outside her room. The camera couldn't see the person's face, only the lower half of their body. They stood perfectly still for almost 4 minutes, then quietly walked away. The clothing matched the motel's maintenance uniform. Dennis wasn't maintenance, but one of his closest friends was. The maintenance worker had already left the job by the time police identified him. He couldn't be found. The investigation widened. Detectives learned that he and Dennis had worked together for nearly a decade. One greeted guests, the other had keys to every room. Search warrants were executed on both men's homes. Nothing directly connected either of them to the missing guests. No physical evidence, no remains, no confession. The maintenance worker was eventually located in another state. He denied ever harming anyone. Dennis denied knowing anything beyond checking people into rooms. Without enough evidence, prosecutors couldn't file murder charges. The case stalled. Over the years, 5 more travelers disappeared after spending a single night at the Lakeview Motel. The owners eventually closed the business after reservations disappeared and the story spread across the country. The building still stands, windows boarded, parking lot cracked with weeds. People driving past barely notice it anymore. The disappearances remain unsolved. No bodies have ever been found. No one has ever been convicted. But investigators still return to one piece of surveillance footage. The video of the woman who survived. Just before she called 911, her room's peephole camera captured someone standing outside. Not knocking, not trying to handle, just standing there, completely motionless, for 3 minutes and 58 seconds. As if they were waiting for her to decide to open the door.